Get your tickets now for the 23rd annual edition of the OUTshine LGBTQ Plus Film Festival happening April 23rd to May 2nd. Don't miss our incredible grand opening drive-in event followed by 10 days of non-stop films from here and all around the world that you can watch at home. Watch trailers and get your tickets at OUTshineFilm.com now.
Hey, all you Outshiners. Welcome to the Q&A for the marvelous film Boy Meets Boy. We're very excited that you've joined us. Before we begin, a big thank you to Gilead and Miami-Dade County, two of our main presenting sponsors who we dearly love. They say they not only support us, but they support the community that we're in. So, again, a big thank you to Gilead and Miami-Dade County. Boy Meets Boy. We're so excited to have with us the director, one of the actors and a co-writer. So I'll bring him on and we can get going. First of all, we have the director and co-writer, Daniel Sanchez Lopez. Hi, Daniel.
Hi, Jeff.
Welcome. Daniel's joining us from Berlin. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us and for having the movie. It's a pleasure to be part of the OUTshine Festival.
Great. Well, we look forward to learning more about the film. Also with us, co-writer Hannah Renton. Hannah joining us from London.
Hi, nice to see you.
Good to see you. And we were talking about the sun beaming down on you, so congratulations for that. So
thank you very much.
We're happy to have you here and look forward to talking to you as well. And we have Matthew James Morrison, who plays Harry in the film. Matthew also joined us from sunny London.
Hello.
Thank you for being here. All right. Let's start with the start. Daniel, or maybe Hannah, I'm not sure who this question's better addressed to, but let's talk about the genesis of the film. How did the idea go and sort of how you both came involved?
I think, Danny, you talk about the genesis and then I can talk a bit, or, you know, the seed, let's say, and I can talk a bit about how we developed it.
Yeah, of course. Okay. I always say that there are like two genesis, no? The one is like creative genesis, and the other one is more like practical genesis. You know, like Hannah and me studied together in Denmark. We met there, and I met there in the school as well to the editor, to the director of photography, to the assistant director, the assistant camera. In total, we were 7 people in the team that we met in this school in Denmark. And basically what Hannah and me wanted to do, I think it was like a feature film, you know, like we wanted to use this momentum of being studying in the school and say like, okay, when we finish here, we want to make a feature film, but we don't have money, we don't have the resources to make a feature film. So what can we do to be able to make the film, you know, to make a film? And then we were thinking that there was a lot of possibilities to make a film with a low budget production budget. And then we thought that we were really interested in romantic and love relationships. Also, like we were also looking forward to tell a story that was kind of like new and like no stereotype about what romantic relationships and connections are in our generation. So then we thought that making a film with only 2 characters, dialogue based, and like with really little resources was the perfect match for our goal with the movie that was talking about our generation and about this fleeting moment of joy that can cause you to meet a new person.
Yeah, and what I'll say about the development, I guess, is that after we finished in Denmark, we went to live in Berlin together. We shared a room. It was a very, very organic process, particularly for me writing, more so than anything else I've worked on. We were kind of like running around the streets of Berlin with our laptops, like kind of writing scenes in different places that we found ourselves. different times in the night and day. So it was a really enjoyable process, and it was a lot, I think, about me and Danny in a way being in dialogue with each other and in dialogue with the city. And it was, it just sort of emerged very freely from those conversations. And I think, I'm sure Danny and Matthew will talk more about how it worked in production, and I wasn't there, but I think that kind of approach and tone like continued throughout the whole project and is very tangible in the film.
Great. I always see those people in the city running around with laptops, and I wonder what they're doing. And now I know they're making.
Yeah. Exactly.
Talk a little bit about the process. People are fun. I love people. Talk a little bit about the process, like from start to finish. Is this something that took a long time to write, and then shooting was fairly fast, and then editing was fairly fast? Talk about where things might have taken time and other things went by. So.
Yeah, sure. I think everything took really, really long time, but the shooting. Like, we shoot in only 3 weeks, that actually we were shooting in 15 days. So Monday to Friday for 3 weeks. But the writing, it was like a slow process. Like, we wrote in 1 month a lot, but then the movie changed. For 1 year, we were moving the scenes, writing new scenes, changing the structure of the movie. And also it was a really long process in the editing. Like Thea, the editor, was editing for more than 1 year. So we had like 7, 8 versions of the film that we try everything, so in a way, I think the faster and the easiest somehow it was the shooting, because we invest the time in pre and in post-production.
Yeah, and I asked that question for a couple of reasons. One is because it's interesting, but two is I don't think a lot of people who see a film necessarily think about the process, that it really is, it's like a labor of love, and it really does take time. And, you don't just write a film and then Hannah says, here, let's go, you're rewriting. And so we appreciate all of those. Daniel, you mentioned something that actually shocked me, is that you thought a good way to sort of start a feature film was to do this thing with only 2 characters. That scares the heck out of me, because they have to be brilliant. That's all you see are 2 characters on the screen the whole time. So I'm glad you took that effort, and I'm glad we got what we got. So that sort of leads me to how you found Matthew, and then we'll go to Matthew to sort of find out, some of his thoughts on the filming as well.
That was like the biggest challenge of the film. At one point, I even thought that it was my biggest focus. It was the casting and the idea that I say to myself, I would never make this movie if I don't find these people, So I didn't make it until I found it. We did 6 castings in London and in Berlin, and we tried different couples. Basically, we were casting by couples and not by individual people, So we were testing the chemistry. And I remember the last casting that we did. It was this casting that it was a whole day with the 10 actors together in a room, and we were like doing different exercise, and then I was so tired that day because it was the whole day looking at them acting. I was so lost. Thank God we had a camera recording, no? And then the day after, when I watched all these videos and I saw them together, I was like, wow, like I believe them, I have goosebumps. And I was like, these people, these guys it's Johannes and Harry, and it was super clear since I saw them together. But it was super unclear for the half a year I was doing the casting, I was really, I don't know, it lost, but always, not sure about if I will find them, but I did, and I'm really happy because I think they really made the movie, like sometimes I feel that the movie is really possible to follow and to hear the conversations and everything, because you just believe them because they are how they are, and you see these events like it will be a documentary, and it's because they had this amazing chemistry that, yeah, I think is, you cannot even explain it. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think, Matthew?
Yeah, I was going to say, Matthew, let's bring you in to talk about that, because it is such an intimate film, and here you are sort of bearing your soul, if you will, with this other person who, I don't know how familiar you were before and certainly after. So talk a little bit about that.
I don't think the first time I met Alexis was in the final casting in Berlin. So I didn't really know him, and I think when I arrived in Berlin for the actual shooting, I think there was a couple of days at first when it was just me and Danny, so he wasn't there. But we got on really well. It was really, really nice. He essentially became my guide in Berlin and would like take me around and show me places, and we'd like hang out with each other. Yeah, and so it's developed definitely into a friendship. We still keep in touch. I think I rang him a couple of weeks ago actually, and we were just talking about like how the film's going. We're just like so happy and excited that it's like good things are happening. But yeah, we have a good relationship.
Yeah, was everything scripted to the T, or were there like improvisational moments, or did Matthew say, "Hey, Hannah, Daniel, what about this"? Was that sort of a, what was sort of the vibe on the set?
I reply, well, I can tell you that the characters are really well written, not well, but like really written, like we know who are these people. We have a map of the characters, where are the dreams, where are the fears, where are the backgrounds. We know how we wrote these characters like precisely. And then the movie is a mix of improvised scenes with a challenge, with a goal, like in this scene, they need to end up with a affective moment. And there is another scenes that are completely scripted, that they are saying what Hannah and me wrote completely. So it's like a mix of scenes, but I think also why it feels like it's so like maybe so realistic is these two things. Like they have an incredibly chemistry, and the other one is that although it was not written in dialogues, they knew who they are as characters. They knew who was Harry, and they know who is Johannes, and a lot of this is also how they were themselves. Like there's a lot of Matthew in Harry, and there's a lot of Alexis in Johannes as well, right? How do you feel, Matthew? It was like really improvised, or it was really scripted? How did you feel?
I think what you're saying is right. It was a bit of both, wasn't it? We had a script there, but we didn't always stick to it. You sort of took us aside separately, I think, and we worked on different things. And then sometimes if something didn't quite work, we'd just change it on the fly or adapt as things went. It wasn't. I remember you saying it wasn't that some directors, like, you have to say every single word as it is written, every single punctuation as it is to the letter. And you were like, be free with it, like embrace it, like come to me with ideas. And like, it was very much like a two-way channel that we had, which was really nice.
Yeah, and it obviously paid off. Hannah, I'm not sure quite how I want to phrase this question, but so you write this script, and then you sort of say, let's shoot it. Then you sort of watch it. Did it sort of play out how you expected? And talk a little bit about that, because it's got to be a weird sort of thing to see your words sort of come to life, and then.
Yeah. Totally. I mean, something that I'd say, just bringing in from the end of that conversation, is that we did always intend for there to be parts of it that were improvised. And I guess something that I feel is that like a film is a living thing, and that you find actors and they inhabit the characters. And a script isn't, in a sense. A script is like a way of structuring a vision and ideas, but it's something that's kind of, I mean, some people might completely disagree, but I feel a bit like it's, dead on the page. That sounds terrible. And so I didn't expect, it was never the way we approached it. I mean, even I think we wrote in to have bits of like documentary style footage. And I also kind of work in documentaries, so I never expected to see something that was an exact reflection. And I knew it would be, I don't know, for me, it was just really exciting and amazing to see, and to see Matthew and Alexis like so much bring these characters to life, and also Hannah and Taya and all the other people who were involved. And I guess for me, because a film takes quite a long time to make, and I really sadly wasn't on set because I was working with something else. So it was just like, it was quite a profound moment in a way to see all these other people and all this life that was put into this thing that was, as I said, really just like me and Dan. Like it really feels like it has traveled so far from just me and Danny sort of like throwing ideas around. So yeah, it was like nothing but joyful, really. And I was just really sad that I wasn't on set at all, but I guess it gave me like even kind of, it gave that moment even more weight.
Yeah. And again, I think you hear me, I'm big into the process. And Daniel, this was your first feature, right? Yeah. So was there anything that sort of struck you as, oh, that was easier or more difficult, or something just that was like, as you're going through it, I didn't realize it would be like that. Do you have any stories about that? And they don't have to be individual stories, but just, to me, it's such a difficult thing. And I admire actors and writers and directors, and I'm fascinated by that.
Well, I was really scared to make my first feature film, like panicking. And I think the most difficult part of the movie is also to take the decision, okay, I will make it, and I will make it. What really helped me, it was to have around me a team who was also having experience in the same thing than me, like that had a queer sensitivity, but also that they were like talented, but they didn't have too much experience, So the writer, the Hannah camera, the editor, the producers, also Matthew and Alexis didn't have a feature film before done, So all this helped a lot to have like a family that, you know what I mean, that we were together, that we were like knowing the same, kind of like, I don't know, kind of like growing together. And that was really important for me. And then of course, I realized about a lot of things that didn't work out in the film, like in every single process, in the writing, but also in the shooting, like there are moments that, okay, this is not working, we need to change it immediately. But you need to be always, I don't know, like open and adaptable, like to be always awake, to make changes. And in the editing as well, like the movie that you're seeing, like this is like the end of the movie it was not like this in the script, like there's like you need to be open to changes all the time, and that's what I enjoy a lot. What Hannah says, like movie making is an organic process. Now what I'm looking forward is to make a second one, that's for sure. To kind of put in practice all what I learned from the first.
Well, please do keep going. Matthew, there are so, I keep using the word intimate, but I think that's such a profound word, and fitting for here. Sort of, what was your favorite conversation, if you will, but whether, that you had?
Well, in the film or behind the scenes?
No, on the film, because there were so many just beautiful, intimate moments of you, conversing with each other. It's just.
Yeah. I really like the conversation that was had in the on the grass. I felt like that was just nice and really sort of touching, because usually what was happening, I think, throughout the majority of the film was that we're on the move, and it was nice to have that conversation, like sat still on a grass, and you're having two characters sort of like disagreeing with each other, but not in like a, it's not like a polarized thing. It's just like we are two different people and we have two different points of view. And it was just nice to have that stillness, sat on the grass with your legs up. I think that was, for me, that's what jumps to mind.
Yeah, and that's interesting you mentioned that, because that is such a profound part of the film is that there are contrasting lives, and you sort of encounter each other, and how this one little gesture of I can help you print your boarding pass sort of really changes and leaves such a mark. I don't know if it's a better question for Hannah or Daniel. Is like, you got that point across so gently and so lovingly. How did you sort of, keep these sort of two things about the contrasting life, but yet the relationship so solid?
Do you want to reply, Hannah? Yeah, please.
Both answer.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I guess I think that the film is a journey between these two people, and it's interesting because it's both like a physical journey. It was really interesting to me that what Matthew said about them being always on the move, and they're sort of in motion. And I think actually weirdly right now that really resonates because everybody is just like so stuck. But they're also on this kind of like romantic journey with each other, but then they're also stuck, I think, in their own like philosophical, intellectual, emotional journey of life where they're trying to work out these things about actually really themselves. And I think that's something that's interesting is like, people say that actually you're always in a relationships sometimes are like more about the self than about the other in a weird way. And so I guess that maybe is part of it. I don't know if this answers the question at all, but it's the way in which the film is kind of about the relation between these two people, but also really about the relationship of these two people to themselves. And somehow I think it quite effectively moves between the two in a way that feels real to life, and actually how we have relationships with people, and how we can have moments of like profound understanding and care for the other person, but also a lot of the time our relationships are really about how we're feeling about ourselves.
That's why for me it was really important that they didn't end up together, or because I think they learn more things about themselves than about the other person. Like the journey in a way is a personal journey and not a couple journey. That's why, for example, was a key that they didn't end up together. But at the same time they learn something about themselves at the end, and they are not going to be the same.
And that really remains from the beginning, Danny. Like I looked at the first synopsis that we ever wrote from the movie, even when it was sort of a short, and it's so similar to what the synopsis is now. And so I do think even though the movie developed so much, the kind of soul of it actually was kind of quite consistent in a way in what we were exploring.
Yeah. Matthew, you don't have to tell us what parts, but Daniel said he thought that there was part of Harry in you. Do you agree? Was there part of the character that was really like, oh, maybe, kind of?
Yeah, I was just thinking about that because earlier in the conversation, someone mentioned something, and it was like, I see parts of Harry and Johannes in me. And I think talking to Alexis, I'm not speaking for him, but I think he was saying that he saw the similar sort of thing, parts of both characters within himself. And yeah, definitely there's parts of the character within me, like his sort of like educational background, not exactly the same, but similar, and sort of with our families as well. And then, yeah, I think what was interesting for me was that there's definitely both parts that I can sort of, that I like, if I was sat as a third person in their conversations, I would be agreeing with Harry sometimes and Johannes sometimes, and that makes it sort of nice to get into character, but also understand where you differ from your character. Yeah, but there's definitely, both of them I resonate with.
For me, it was really important that, and for Hannah as well, that the movie had really complex characters, like that was not so clear, like, this person is this, is a Twinkie and behaves like a Twinkie, or this person is like, you know what I mean? Like, that was also part of why we make the movie, was because we wanted to make a portrait of queer people who are also, like that has more sides, that there are no stereotypes, like that you can be contradictory to yourself, you can be a mess, like you can be thinking that you want to think something that maybe you are not, you are so light to yourself, like it's something that I didn't see really often in queer cinema, and that was something that one of the reasons why I made the movie, because I wanted these just like contradictory and complex characters. I don't know if I achieved it or we achieved it, but that was a key of the making, that the characters show different like faces.
You definitely did, and quite often complex characters can become too complex or too convoluted, and you still made them accessible and human, and with their complexities, and they were whole people. So I appreciated that. Do you think you'd like to continue to write direct, or do you think you might want to start focusing, I guess, to Daniel first, do you like them both? Do you think you want to sort of focus on one or the other, or?
Well, right now I'm producing a documentary, so I think I'm really into the making, like I also co-produced this film with Lucia Sapelli, and I think the next I'm doing is a documentary that I co-producing from Germany about the trans experience of a woman, a Cuban girl living in Moscow, in Russia. And also, I'm writing and directing my next feature film. But what I'm not going to do again is direct and produce at the same time. Because I think it's really nice to be close to the production, to know, like to be realistic of what do you need, and this is something that I learned. But I think organically, the producer and the director should be separately. Like at one point, it's impossible to be a producer on set, for example, or represent the film. This is for sure what I would do in the future.
Yeah, Anna, are you gonna keep writing? Do you wanna throw your hat in the ring for other things, or?
Yeah, I mean, I do also direct, and I will continue to do that as well as write. I kind of feel like in some ways, the relationship that Danny and I had is the kind of relationship that I would like to direct the films that I want to make. But I think it's a really interesting thing to write something with someone else. And actually, the way Danny and I did it was much looser than ways, maybe because we were such good friends before, was looser than the ways I've kind of found it with other people. I think writing together is an amazing but a difficult thing, and I think it's a constant process of working out how you want to make things. But definitely we'll continue writing and directing, basically.
Great, I'm happy to hear that. Matthew, are you gonna stay with acting? You'd like to be on the other side of the camera at some point, or?
I think, I don't know. I've thought about doing things, but I think acting at the moment is something that I'd like to concentrate on the most. I find it fulfilling, and I would argue that it's probably the easiest job that out of everyone on set, because you're the last person to get involved and you're the first person to finish. So, because you talk about the whole process for everyone, it's been going on for years, and for me, I just pop in for a month and learn some lines beforehand and have a great time. So I'm happy with what I'm doing.
Yeah, but still a lot of work. I know you're being a bit modest there, so we appreciate the work that you do. Time for one more question. It's just sort of like the takeaway. What do you hope people sitting in the seats watching Boy Meets Boy, sort of they leave the theater thinking what? Daniel, we'll start with you.
I would love to people to connect with these characters, to feel that they are like people, they think, act, and live their lives like them. Like this is what I get from my favorite movies, and I feel less lonely for 1 hour and a half. Like there's someone in the world that has the same thoughts, or that love the same way, or that is unable to love the same way I am. So if I'm able to connect and to like make this person less lonely, that is my goal.
Hannah?
I think just that life is complex and beautiful, and like it's about the seeking, not about the finding of anything, and that like everything is in motion, kind of. Yeah, I think that's what I want people to feel, and that we just have to embrace that.
And Matthew.
I guess it depends on sort of what audience. I would say that. Sorry.
That's valid point.
I would say like the thing I would want people to take away is like know yourself, have your beliefs, have your opinions, and that's fine. But also be open to hear other people's, and don't be afraid to question them, and to have a to and fro in order to learn and grow, and have space to appreciate people's differences. Yeah.
What a good conversation, Daniel, Hannah, Matthew. Thank you so much so much for allowing us to screen. It's such a beautiful and I could use all these buzzwords we talked about, intimate and complex, and it is all those things, but it's ultimately just a beautiful story of two wonderful people made by wonderful people. Thank you for taking the time. I think the misconception is that we're all doing nothing in this pandemic, and that's not true. So your time is valuable. We appreciate you being here. For all of you outshiners out there, remember April 23rd to May 1st, lots of great films. Take advantage of all we have to offer. We'll leave you now with a trailer for Boy Meets Boy. And again, thank you, Daniel, Hannah, and Matthew for sharing this film and yourselves with us.
Thanks so much. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you to you and the festival, really.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
What do you do?
What I do? I dance.
Really?
Yes. And I deliver food by bike, okay?
I don't want to see.
What?
You dance.
No.
Come on, like I might never ever see you.
I'm not
dancing.
dancing.
Just do it. Like live life. I'm like I should have danced that day.
Leave me alone.
The most important things in life is to be able to do whatever you want, or to be with who you want to be.
So why then don't you do whatever you want?
I don't know what I want to fucking do.
Next.
Honestly, I scare myself sometimes. I go to work and I sleep with a random guy and it satisfies me for like 5, 10, 15 minutes and then I just come and I feel disgusting.
Love between two persons, it gets possessive, it gets hard, it's fucking painful. You connect that to everything in your complete life and you end up also thinking of the possibility that this could last forever. You know what I mean?
Why did you tell me this after spending 10 hours with me?
I just didn't find the right moment. I'm sorry.
Great. Oh, wait, let me guess. Daniel? No, I've got it.
It's Johannes.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Johannes.